Hello and welcome everyone. Let's solve this React coding challenge courtesy of ChatGPT. So shout out to our interviewer. We are asked to create a React component that displays a set of buttons, each with a different color. So when a button is clicked, then we want the background color of the component to match the color of the button. So if we have a button yellow and the button is clicked, then we want this entire background to be yellow. So the idea is that our component would look something like this. We have a background color and some buttons. And when we click on any of the buttons, the background matches the background color that was clicked. Cool. Now, if this was a live coding interview, I would advise that you ask some questions. The ones I've thought about is, are the colors predefined or are they entirely up to you? That you determine the colors of the buttons, or do you randomly generate them, or is the interviewer going to provide them? Are there any constraints you should take note of, such as the text color? When playing around or building code that has color change. The idea is that the internet is now inclusive of dark mode, light mode, and every other mode, right? So there might be constraints of, okay, if we're using a dark mode, then you want to make the text color white or whatever your interviewer might request of. And also, should the colors be randomly generated? I think I already mentioned that. Any other question you think you ask your um, interviewer, do let me know. But these are some of the questions I could think of. But this is a take home assessment by our interviewer, ChatGPT. So be sticking to the scope of the questions asked. Now let's jump right into the code. So my code is bootstrapped using Vite and TypeScript. You can use any Create React app of your choice. I just find that this is a bit fast, or actually, I have no special reason. So let's go ahead now and clear the boilerplate code. So I'm going to go to my app.css and delete. And now we have a blank code. If I go ahead and type hello world, that should get displayed on screen. And as you can see on the screen, we have this big bold hello world. So I'm going to go ahead and create a component and call my component ColorPicker. So for my color picker, what do we want our component to have? We know our component is supposed to have a set of buttons, and the set of buttons should be colored such that, and they should be clickable. Buttons are clickable, that's why they are buttons. So I'm going to go ahead and create a button. I'm going to give it a style of red. Let's call the background, make the background red. I'm also going to go back to my app.css TSS. I can never pronounce it. And import my color picker. Cool. So now that's imported, but the button shows up not as we want it to. I'm going to style this button. So I'm going to give the class name of color picker button. By the way, this is what our component currently looks like. We have just one button with the color of red. I want to go ahead and style that better. So I'm going to the app.css. I'm going to give this a width of 100 pixels and also a height of 100 pixels, so it has a bit of basically has a bit of body. And then I'm also going to give the Give it a border, 1 pixels, solid. I think this is cool. I'm going to go back to our color picker. Now we know we want to have multiple buttons, right? The idea is not just to have one button and then change the background color based on that. But actually we can give that a try where we go ahead and say on click, we want to change each color. So I'm going to go ahead and define the function. Actually, what I also want to do here is I want to pass the color of the button to the function of our on click function. So I'm going to go here. I'm going to say change BG color. I'm going to give that. I'm going to pass that string of red. The expected zero arguments but got one. So now I want to put, of course, put the color here to show that we're expecting something. Color implicitly, there are many errors going on here, but I'm going to say that the error here is going to actually be the type or that is not being used. So let's go ahead and say that, okay, when we have a color, what do we do now? Now we want to go ahead and say, want to get document, want to get body, want to get style. We're basically just accessing the DOM directly here. Background color, and we want that to be equal to the color that we are getting from our function, and then we're going to give this a type of string, as you can see. So when we go back to our browser and click on our button, we see that our background takes the color of the button that was clicked. Now let's create multiple buttons, and in order to do this, I'm going to create an array of buttons. And I'm going to come up with various colors here. Now we're going to go ahead and map the buttons and display them in our button elements basically. So we do this using the map function. We have an array, we want to display it as a list, we use our map function. So buttons or map, we're getting the color, the ID, we're just going to say. So now I'm going to bring my button over here, and the ID here, or the key, is going to be the ID. And for our on-click function, you want to change the background color not to red now, but to color, the color that is being passed. And for our background color, we're not going to give it a background color of red. It's going to dynamically change based on the color of our array. Now we are going to go back to our app, and then we can see that, okay, now we have all of these different colors, and then when we click on them, it gives us what we want. I think these buttons are a bit too large, but it does the work, and the emphasis might not necessarily be on the buttons, or maybe this is where you ask your interviewer, maybe if this was a take-home assignment. I think one thing I also want to add is a test if this was take-home. So there you have it, our color picker components. If you are going to try this in some other way, because I believe that there are various numbers of ways to solve this. So if you just give this a try, link the gist or GitHub or repo or the code in the comment section. I'll be more than glad to have a different perspective of it. Also, the background color is not changing according to the button color because I did some random code. It's not really part of the scope. Anyways, from an interviewer perspective, this color test, state management, creative thinking, because this problem can be solved a number of ways, mapping over lists, and yeah, I think just basic component structure and a bit of knowledge of DOM. If you notice from our code, we are directly accessing the document body, but there's also a way to pass this to our app components using props and then testing and then changing the background color of our app rather than accessing the DOM object document body directly. Like I said, there are a number of ways to test this out. So if from an interviewer perspective, you did that, you changed the app state, the background color of the app rather than the document body, I will test you for knowledge of props. But if you did it this way, I will test for knowledge of DOM and how well you can understand to access some of these things. According to ChatGPT, the level for this is at intermediate. Unfortunately, I do not agree. I think it's a solid beginner because it tests basic knowledge of how to set up a component in React. This is the barest minimum. But let me know if you think any other way. Thank you so much for watching this video. If you are still tuned in, if you liked it, to give it a thumbs up. Comment. It helps the algorithm know this video is useful and show it to more people. I'll be creating more videos like this, but in the meantime, I have so many videos on coding algorithm, data structures, and all of that good stuff. Thank you so much. I'll see you in the next video. Bye.